Tonight, we are taking a dive into the phenomenon that is youth sports. The majority of American children participate in them, and the number of both kids and programs has been steadily rising over the last 50 years. From basketball to football, and starting as early as ages 3 or 4, the opportunities for kids have been many. But what began as an opportunity for children to have fun in an organized setting has now evolved into something centered around fierce competition and winning at all costs. As so many families invest so much time in youth sports, it is important to evaluate their role in American society and whether or not we can still find some good values to take away from youth sports. My name is Andrea Lau, and welcome to 60 Minutes. When one hears the word sports, one automatically thinks of running and jumping and all kinds of movement, so it should come as no surprise that many benefits that children receive from participation in youth sports are primarily physical, such as learning physical or specialized skills. In order to gain a better understanding of their own body and gain mastery over it, a child must practice. By practicing, this child is learning to discipline their body by the repetition of a shot or pass. The more a child practices and becomes better at their specific sport, the higher level of competition they will be able to compete in, which in turn offers a higher level of activity. This also results in a higher degree of physical fitness, which leads to children who have healthier, more fitness-based lifestyles. Children who have had a positive experience in youth sports are more likely to maintain a healthier lifestyle in order to continue competing. This healthier lifestyle also sets the child up to be a healthy adult in the future. When nutrition and physical activity are a regularly incorporated part of a child's life, it makes it much easier for a child to continue eating well and being active. The flip side of this is the effect that this can have on non-athletes. In many cases of overweight adults and severe obesity, the men and women either had negative or no experience with sports in their youth, and as a result felt uncomfortable around gym-related activities and public exercise. This factored largely in the progression of their obesity because they continued to feel uncomfortable at the gym and lacked a childhood that emphasized a well-balanced diet. This factor is a huge indicator of sports' role, not just as competition or entertainment, but also as an educator as well. Another way in which a child can either be benefited or harmed is in the mental realm, in that sports a lot of times offer children a sense of belonging and channel for socialization. Sports teams are some of the earliest opportunities for kids to bond with each other over something that is elective rather than mandatory, like school. Kids begin to see similarities between themselves, which allows them to identify with their teammates. Often for children, teammate becomes synonymous with friend. A friend is generally someone who shares similar interests and gains your trust over time, whereas a teammate automatically shares an interest with you, and you are forced to trust them in order to assure the success of your team. Because of the assumed trust, children learn how to form surface friendships, or friendships based on the shared interest and participation in a sport and not much else. This also can be somewhat emotionally stunting because it allows child athletes to make friends without sharing the typical intimate and emotionally driven moments that occur on an individual scale rather than in a team setting. Another factor is children's self-esteem. Students who play sports are more importantly play them well, have a much higher sense of self-esteem. It is much easier for kids to feel good about themselves when they are constantly being praised for their performance in a specific area. The danger that this carries is twofold. For children who do not perform well in sports, they are more likely to experience low self-esteem and insecurity. In American culture, sports are seen as a fact of life, and if you can't be a part of that, then you run the risk of being ostracized and even bullied. Another way in which this is dangerous is the child that will never feel good about themselves because too much pressure is put on them to succeed. Whether the pressure comes from a coach, a parent, or the child themselves, it causes the athlete extreme mental and physical anguish in their constant quest to achieve this unattainable state of perfection. While we have discussed a few benefits and their potentially negative implications, it is also important to discuss several clear risks in the realm of youth sports. The first risk has to do primarily with the physical. In youth sports, there's a risk of early injuries that create problems with tissues and bones that are still growing. A bone chip in a child's ankle could be serious enough to prevent that child's ankle from developing normally, resulting in a potentially permanent limp. Youth sport injuries, whether left untreated or treated incorrectly, can become a chronic and debilitating ordeal at a very young age. Beyond even injury, overuse can create serious problems for athletes in the future. For example, tendinitis and carpal tunnel. Child runners especially tend to wear down the cartilage and joints in their knees, which has been cause for many knee replacements in people as young as age 20. Another aspect where children undergo risk is in the mental realm. The first, the amount of stress placed on many kids by parents, coaches, and even themselves can cause severe anxiety that takes away the fun of sports. Kids can no longer be kids when they're expected to produce some sort of trophy or medal at the end of their play. Instead of playing for fun and hoping that they're learning values such as coachability and sportsmanship, they are instead valuing intensity and winning. While neither of those are bad things, they can be dangerous when they are a child's main focus. Another important thing to understand is that child athletes grow up with a different understanding of success. They've been trained to understand success as winning, while other children may grow up being content with just trying. This creates a very different level of satisfaction related experience for both types of children. One is much more likely to be happy than the other. And as I mentioned earlier, many unsuccessful child athletes will experience feelings of isolation and inadequacy when a child is not as good as their peers. Overall, with all the positive intentions and potential good that can come from participation in youth sports, I don't think that by itself it is a harmful organization. However, when parents and authority figures instill their children with win-all, end-all mentalities, that's when youth sports crosses a line. While I think children should be encouraged to participate in sports because of the great physical and mental benefits that they offer, I also believe that they should be allowed to choose whatever interests them most. This would require on many parents' parts for them to take the role of cheerleader and encourager in order to support the child's well-being, rather than the parents' misplaced desire to succeed via their children's accomplishments. Youth sports should be about fun and making friends, not medals and making headlines.